Okay guys, today we are going to talk about the antibiotics. So there is the basic things we have to understand today: the classification, mechanism, spectrum and indication, and side effects. So there are basic things we have to understand about the antibiotic. The first thing is classification. And first we understand the classification of drugs and classification of bacteria. So let's go first. Classification: we classified the drugs into three parts: cell wall synthesis inhibitors, protein synthesis, and anti-metabolites. There are three types we classified the drugs. So first go with the cell wall synthesis inhibitors, and we divide further these two into two parts: the beta lactam ring containing antibodies and non beta lactam containing antibiotics. So first we go here. There is a mimic we have to understand: PMCC. So PMC, P for penicillin, M for monobactin, C for carbapamine, and C for cephalosporin. Cephalosporins we have, and another one non beta lactam is vancomycin. We will go over the further details later about each drug. So let's go with the general review for the protein synthesis. The first is beta actin on 3s 30s and beta actin on 50s. You know, the protein is act on two parts, 30 and 50s. So these drugs act on 30s. So the mimic is AT at. So the main is monoglycoside and tetracycline. So there are two is monoglycide and tetracycline from 8, and there's a mimic here CCELL. So C is for chloramphenicol, clindamycin, erythromycin, lincomycin, and linezolide. These are the drugs act on 50s. So let's go for another one: anti-metabolates. So anti-metabolates we divide into: first one is antifolate, and antifolate is further divided into two: dihydroteurate synthase, another one dihydrofolate reductase inhibitors. So there is only drug here is cephlonamide. Another one here we can see here dihydrofolate reductase inhibitors. So first one is methotrexate, perimethomine, and trimethopyrin. So what's we have to understand: this act on the humans, and these drugs act on parasites. We can use these drugs for the bacterial infections. And this one, anti-metabolates, is go further divide into topoisomerase inhibitors, and it's gonna go with the DNA gyrase. And there's the only drug is used here, quinolone. Quinolone we use it to inhibit this DNA gyrase. Okay, this is the classification of the drugs. Now we are going to go classification of bacteria. Is a general information what we have to understand. We divide the bacteria into three groups: thick wall, thin wall, and wall-less. So let's go with the thick wall. Thick wall has two parts: free living and obligate intracellular. So let's go with the free living. Free living is go further divided into gram stains. So there are two kind of bacteria, you know, like gram positive and gram negative. So let's go with the gram positive. Gram positive is further divided into cocci and rods, we also call the bacilli. So cocci, and there are the bacteria are included. It's like a pathology. You have to understand it, which kind of bacteria is included in cocci. So let's see, it's streptococci, staphylococcus, and pneumococcus. These are the part of a cocci family. And rods, there are two kind of rods: not sporous and one sporous. So non-sporous is only one is Corynebacterium listria. Another one, Listridium, is anaerobic bacteria, and Listra monocytogen is, and this can cause atypical pneumonia. We will discuss about this later in detail. So this is the general information you have to understand about gram stain positive bacteria. And now gram stain negative bacteria is also further divided into two, cocci and rods. And cocci is the first one is meningococcus, and meningococcus, meningo come from the meningitis because it causes meningitis, and gonococcus. Now we talk about the rods, and rods is further divided into enteric and non-enteric. So enteric bacteria, which kind of bacteria are included? The Pseudomonas, E. coli, Coliseum, protein, Marbin, Shigella, Salmonella, and Bacteroid. Bacteroid is included in enteric. And non-enteric, there are few bacteria we have to understand: Yersinia, Pastine, H. influenza, and Francisella Lotramia. Oh, it's kind of hard. Okay, this is a two non-enteric and enteric part of gram-negative bacteria. So these are the included. And yeah, one more thing is a gram-stained bacteria, non-gram stained bacteria. We are going here further divided into fast acid bacillus, and the two bacteria are included here: Monobacterium TB and Monobacterium leprae, and these are part of the fast acid bacillus. So these are all part of what? Free living. They're free living kind of bacteria. Now let's we go with the obligate intracellular, and this famous bacteria is chlamydia. Chlamydia can cause pelvic disease, pneumonia, and further other diseases. You have to understand this is a part of thick wall. It's all part of the thick wall classification of bacteria. And Ricista. And now we go to the thin one, Saprocantin. Saprocantin is further divided into Troponemia. Troponemia, cause syphilis, and Pallidum, Leptospira, and Borrelia. It can cause limbic disease. Now we go with the Wallace. The Wallace bacteria, and there are two bacteria only included here: mycoplasmic, and they can cause atypical pneumonia, and uroplasmic erythemus. It's called UTV infections. UTI infections. So this is all for today. Today we discuss about a classification of drugs and a classification of bacteria, and this is only one part. Now further we are going to talk about the life cycle of bacteria and which kind of, and these drugs, penicillin, vancomycin, all the drugs we will separate discuss with the details and the side effect of all of it. So this is for today, guys. I hope you will like this video. See you.